Hi, so in this video we're going to be completing the square. We're going to introduce what's the meaning of completing the square. The idea is that if I have a binomial or a trinomial, I want to complete the square. So when I factor it, I have something like this. Right? Before I go over that, I'm going to show you something with this, right? If we remember, we can FOIL this, right? So we have x plus a, and when I multiply, I get x squared plus x times a, 8x, ax plus a squared. Right? And then I can add this here, plus 2ax plus a squared. Right? As you can see, first of all, this number is the square of half of this number. So 2a, so half of 2a is a, and a squared. So that's exactly the same thing that we're doing here. So we're going to take, once we have it in standard form, where my coefficient of the a squared is positive 1. So that's very important that this coefficient down here is positive 1. If it's different than 1, we have to factor it, and I'm going to show you in class how to do that, right? So if that's positive 1, that means that now I can just take my linear coefficient, so in this case it's the negative 16. I'm going to divide by 2 that number. That's the same as negative 8. And then I'm going to take that negative 8 and I'm squaring that number. So in this case, this is 64. Keep in mind that this number that I'm adding here, so I can complete this to a perfect trinomial. This number down here is going to be always positive because I'm squaring, right? So negative 8 squared is going to be positive 64. Now it's asking me to rewrite it as a perfect square, so I just want something like this. So this is as simple as, first of all, is a, and then this number, once you divide by 2, remember that we have the 2a, so if I divide this by 2, it's the a. So that number that I divided by 2, that's the number that I'm going to include here. So minus a squared, and that's it. If we can see that also, right? Let me do it down here so you can see that it's the same, minus 16a plus 64. So two numbers that you multiply and give you 64, and you add and give you negative 6, so that's negative 8, negative 8. So that's the same as a minus 8 squared. Let's see the second one. Again, leading coefficient is 1, so this coefficient is 1. The coefficient of the y squared is positive 1. So now I'm going to take the negative 18 divided by 2. That's negative 9. Remember that that's the number that is going to go to the parentheses. The number that I need here, we're going to see once we have equations and we're solving by completing the square, that number is important, that number that I add here, right? So negative 9 squared equals to 81. So that's the number, the 81. And now my perfect square is going to be y minus, again, this number is the one that is going there, 9 squared. Let's see number 2. So number 2, again, leading coefficient is 1. So I can take the 14 divided by 2. That's 7. And then the 7, I can square it. And that's 49. So that means that I'm adding the 49 here. And I'm going to rewrite it as y plus 7 squared. So you can see, again, this is the number that is going inside of there. Okay, so again, leading coefficient is 1. Leading coefficient is 1. So 34 divided by 2 is 17. 17 squared is 289. That's the number that I'm adding here. And x plus 17. X plus 17. Again, the 17 comes from right here. So that's the number that I'm including there. Number 5. Again, leading coefficient is 1. I'm taking the 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. So that's the number that I'm adding here, 16. And then x plus 4. And that's it for this lesson. Simple as that. We're going to use this to solve equations, and we're going to do another video for that. May the force be with you.